Hey my glam girls, welcome back to my channel. It's Chelsea, where we talk about all things glam and all things girly. So today I'm coming to you with an eyeshadow palette showdown. So as we all know, Patrick Ta graced us with his first ever eyeshadow palette. This is the Major Dimensions eyeshadow palette. I do have a full review on this palette and I'll go ahead and link that for you. And so when I posted that video, a lot of you all asked me between Instagram and YouTube, how does this compare to Natasha Denona bronze palette? So that's what we're going to be doing. We are going to be comparing the bronze palette to Patrick Ta's Major Dimensions palette. Now you go ahead and take a guess as to which eye you think has which palette. Is this Patrick Ta and Natasha, or is this Natasha and Patrick Ta? Go ahead and take your guess, leave it in the comment section below. But before we get into this video, I have to say thank you so much for spending some time with me today. I truly appreciate all of you taking that time with me. If you're new, I definitely want to say welcome and consider subscribing if you are not already subscribed to my channel, because I'd love to have you. And let's just get right into this video. Okay, so let's start off with some comparables. So we'll start off with the, more seasoned palette. So we've got Natasha Denona. This is her midi-size palette. It does retail for $65 and we get 15 eyeshadows. We do get a combination of traditional matte eyeshadows, her creamy matte formula, some shimmers, and some metallic formulas. So this particular palette does come with a lot of different formulas. We have a really nice size mirror, and in terms of product amount, we have 19.25 grams of product, or 0.67 ounces of product in this entire palette. Looking at the Patrick Ta palette, this does retail for $68 and we get a total of 12 eyeshadows. Of the 12, we have 2 that are cream, which are right here, which is why we have this flap covering it. And then of the 10 powder formulas, we have our traditional matte shades right here. We have some metallics and metallic topper shades. This also does come with a nice size mirror. And in terms of total product amount in this particular palette, I gotta do the math. They didn't put it all in there for me, so I'll do the math, put it right here on the screen because I don't have a calculator in front of me. So right off the back, looking at both of these particular palettes, we can see that we have a lot of different formulas between the two. I say a lot, but a few different formulas between the two. Obviously, the formulations that are in both of these palettes are not identical. So what I'm saying is we've got 2 cream formulas in the Patrick Ta palette, whereas with Natasha, we don't have those cream formulas, but we've got her creamy matte formula, which is not in the Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette. So that's what I mean by that. In terms of looking at them, I don't see, like, when I first saw the Patrick Ta palette, I didn't initially think bronze palette, but enough of you all did because you asked for it. So when I initially sat down, I was like, we're gonna get like 2 very different looks. And then I started putting the shadows on my eyes and I was like, whoa, they're not as different as I thought. So let's get into the tutorial. So I first went in with my Refer 15 brush. I started out with the shade Suntan right here, blended that all over the eye. And then I have another Refer 15 brush, so I went in with that and went in first with this shade right here, which is called Mother from the Patrick Ta palette. Blended that out. Both of these matte shades blended really beautifully. I didn't notice a difference at all in terms of how they blended on the eye. I really enjoyed the color, and on the eye, both of these shades look very similar, like almost identical. Then I went in with Natasha's palette and I went into this creamy matte called Deep Dive. This is a plum, no, more like an eggplant type of shade. And I went in with the What's Up R103 brush. This is a natural haired brush. This is where we did notice some differences, and I almost want to say the playing field was not fair, okay? So took that creamy matte, started to blend it directly into the crease, and as you see with the footage, this shade is not blending, I don't want to say it's not blending well, but it is taking a lot of elbow grease to get the shade to blend into the crease. So much so that I actually had to literally turn my camera off and finish blending this in because it took so long to blend it out. I'm talking like I probably worked on that eye for about 10 minutes and my eyelid was getting sore trying to blend that in. I say it's not fair because the closest shade in the Patrick Ta palette to it is this shade right here, which is called Scandal. And this is a traditional matte. So when I took the same brush, when I went and blended that into the crease, it blended so much more smoothly. It blended so much more quick. And it was just effortless because it blended just like the first matte shade that we went in with. So that's why I say the playing field is unfair. Do not judge the creamy matte to this traditional matte shade because the formulas are different. I do think the creamy mattes in this Natasha Denona bronze palette are some of the better formulated ones. So in my opinion, the shade Deep Dive does blend well, but it is not the best for detailed work if you don't want to take the time to really blend it out. So to help that shade blend, I went into the shade Beach from Natasha, and I went back in with the Refer 15 brush, and that really helped to blend that shade into the eye and make it somewhat blended into the eye. You do still see more of a line of demarcation on the Natasha eye compared to the Patrick Ta eye, just because, like I said, that creamy matte formula is just different. For the Patrick Ta palette, I went in with Absolutely right here, blended that all over. Once again, blended in like butter. Matte shades in this Patrick Ta palette blend beautifully. So I went in with Glow Me from Natasha and blended that right here on the outer edge toward like the middle of the eye, and the corresponding shade from Patrick Ta I used is Exquisite, which is probably one of my favorite shades in this palette. Blended that right along here, and I took the What's Up Beauty R106 brush and just used either side for it. And then for the inner corner area, for Natasha, I went in with the shade called Bliss, which is just stunning. And for Patrick Ta, I went in with this shade called Legendary, which is really beautiful. It's another one of his metallic shimmers. And that's what I use to blend into the inner corner. So Patrick Ta's over here, Natasha's over here. So for Natasha, you see this pinky green shift to the eye. Hopefully you can see that. Whereas Patrick Ta's has more of like a champagne bronze type of look. So if you look at the eyes closely, you can see the difference when it comes to the shimmers. But when you look at kind of the setup, the matte portion of the eye, you really can't see a difference too much. For the inner corner, I went in with this shimmer called Silk, and this is more like a metallic shimmer, but it is pressed really nicely and really smoothly, so you don't have like chunks of shimmer kind of falling over the lid. And for Patrick Ta, I went in with Opulent right here. This is one of his metallic toppers. So as you can see in the inner corner, it's definitely not as dense, not as apparent as you would see for the inner corner for the Natasha side. And then for the lower lash line, for both shades, I went in with the deepest shades first. So on the Natasha side, I went in with the creamy matte Deep Dive first. And I used my Refer 23 brush, used the same brush for the for the Patrick Ta side, went in with that deepest shade, blended it out. Then I went in with the Refer 13 brush and the original transition shade. So Suntan for Natasha and Mother for Patrick Ta. And I blended that across the lower lash line to blend out the deeper shade. And that was it for both of the eye looks. So looking at both of the eye looks, I think we did create similar eye looks except for these shades right here in the inner corner. Had we left it with just the shades that we were using prior to that, we could have gotten almost identical eye looks. So for those of you who were thinking, is there similar colors in the bronze palette compared to Patrick Ta's palette? Yes, there are similar colors. However, are the palettes identical? Absolutely not. Is there room for both? Absolutely. So let's go ahead and swatch the shades that we used on the eye so you can see the similarity, because I feel like the other shades are different enough to where you can look at them and go, yeah, these shades are different. But let's look at the ones that are similar so you can see how they swatch and see if, you know, it's worth you getting one or the other or getting both. Here is Natasha Suntan, Patrick Ta's Mother. Here is Natasha Deep Dive, that creamy matte, oh, so pretty. And then Patrick Ta's Scandal, almost forgot the name of the shade right there. Here is Natasha Beach, Patrick Ta's Absolutely. Natasha's Gloaming, and then Patrick Ta Exquisite. So those were the shimmers that we used on the outer area of the eye. Natasha's Bliss compared to Patrick Ta's Legendary. So those are the two shades that are closer to the inner corner of the eye. And then for the inner corner, we have Natasha's Silk and Patrick Ta's Opulence. So these are all of the shades that we use to create both of the eye looks. And as you can see, just looking at the shades, they do look pretty similar. Some of them are very close in shades and undertones. And like I said, I'm not gonna swatch the rest of the shades in both palettes because number one, I have full reviews on both of them, so you can go check those out if you like. I will link those for you. And two, like I said, they're not similar, so there's no need to, waste time swatching them. So my personal thoughts, I love both of these palettes. The bronze palette was my palette of the summer last year. I loved everything about the bronze palette, and I still do. Of course, one of the major things that I love about the bronze palette is going to be the formulation, because I do like Natasha's Creamy Matte formula. I don't mind putting in the extra work, and when I normally use this Creamy Matte shade, I normally use it as an outer corner shade that's actually on the lid and not so much as a detailing shade, so it does work better. I don't have to spend as much time blending it out. And I think it's beautiful. There's another creamy matte here called Rhodium. I think that one is gorgeous and it works very well. So every shade in this bronze palette just speaks to me. It's right up my alley. It is like, if I could almost say, like my ideal summer palette. So I thoroughly enjoy this one. I would definitely put this at the top if I had to rank my Natasha palettes, which I should. I haven't done that. Let me know if you want to see me ranking my Natasha palettes. But if I had to rank them, this one would be close to the top because it is one of my favorite ones. As you saw from the demonstration, the matte shades that we have here, they all blend beautifully. And I love the shimmers. They pack a punch. I don't have to wet my brush or use my finger to get the most pigmentation from the shimmers. I can just go in with a brush and we get full pigment, and they're beautiful. The shades Gloaming and Bliss are duochrome shades right here. And although we've got 4 shades that all are in the gold family, they all have different undertones and there's differences to them. So I'm fine with them because I feel like you can still get a different look depending on how you pair those gold shades with the other shades in this palette. So I love everything about this palette. I think it is amazing, and if this color story speaks to you, I really think you will enjoy it. Now to the Patrick Ta palette. I love this one as well. I was so impressed by this one. When I saw the palette, I felt like I would love it, and I was not wrong about it. The 2 cream shadows work very well. I love using them as a base for these other shadows. They have a more of a matte finish, so they're not going to be like shimmery on the eye. So I think they work really well as bases for the other powders, but they're also cream eyeshadow, so you could wear them on their own for just, kind of like a one eyeshadow type of look. The mattes, I think, are just, they blend like butter. They blend so well. I love the depth from the matte shades as well. And I like the variation of the matte shades too. I like that there's a deeper one, then we've got more of like a reddish tone type of shade, and then you've got your lighter tone types of shades. So I really like the range of matte shades, and I love the formula of them. We have 2 metallic shimmers. So these metallic shimmers are nice. If you want to get full pigmentation from them, you do either need to wet your brush or you will want to use your finger, because if you go in with your brush just on its own, you're gonna get good pigmentation, but not its maximum amount of pigmentation. And then we have these two shimmer metallic toppers. They're definitely topper shades, so you will want to, of course, wet your brush, use your finger, maybe use even like a glitter glue, because if you go in just with your brush, especially if it's dry, you're not gonna get even part of its shimmery effect. You'll get more of like a reflective look versus getting like full on pigmentation from the toppers. And yes, they're topper shades, but even topper shades can, you know, add a little bit more drama to the look. And so if you want that drama, you're gonna definitely wanna have to go in with some type of adhering base for both of these. These two shades right here are going to be matte based shades with a luminescent shimmer. So what I mean by that, I'll swatch them so you kind of can get an idea of what I'm saying. They feel matte. They also blend matte-like, but you do see like some shimmer particles in the shade. So I'm hoping that you all can see that. If you can't see it, just take my word for it. If you look at them in the pan, you do see some shimmer particles in them. But the great thing is that when you touch the powder, blend it onto the eye, you don't feel like shimmer particles falling into your eye or kind of falling all over your face. You don't get any of that. It's a very smooth type of powder with like reflectiveness in it. So for me, I really enjoy this Patrick Ta palette. Like, I think it's beautiful. And in all honesty, which one do I like better? Because I know you're gonna ask me. I don't know. If I were going on a trip, you know, because it would be nice to go on a trip. If I were going on a trip, I would take the Natasha palette. Simply because I have more shades. And if I'm trying to do a quick eye look, like 2-3 shades, and then an impactful shimmer shade, I got it with this palette. I don't have to worry about taking the extra step of wetting my brush and like doing any of that. However, it does not diminish how much I love this palette and how much I think this one is beautiful and how much I would recommend it. So I would say for you, take a look at these palettes. Oh, let's hold them this way. Take a look at the palettes, see which one speaks to you more. See which one fits your makeup style, which one you feel like you'll get more use out of if you're trying to decide between the two. For me, I'm happy I have both of them. There's a place for both of them in my collection, and I will reach for both. I did not want to have to sit there and choose. You all made me do it, and I'm not happy that you did. But like I said, for my preferences, and if I'm, you know, having to like literally choose down to the wire, I'm gonna choose Natasha over Patrick Ta, but if there's room for both, I want to have both because I really enjoy both. So I hope that you found this video helpful. I hope that you enjoyed both of these eye looks. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section as to how you think both of these eye looks turned out, which palette you like better. Are you thinking of getting one or the other or both? Like, let me know all of your thoughts down in the comment section. Of course, everything that I'm wearing will be listed down below in the description box. And if you made it to this point in the video and you have yet to subscribe to my channel, definitely go ahead and consider subscribing because we'd love to have you. And guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope to see you in the very next video. Bye, guys.